So I had just put on my Facebook that I said, yo.
Yeah. And be like, oh, all right.
And nobody on the team was bigger than 6'3".
I just saw he said, what'd he say? He said, I got kicked off the team, sir.
Yeah.
He said he got, so what? But he played, all right, you got kicked off that team. Newark Rams, you got, like he said, we lost. Rams, you got, like he said, we lost to the Newark Rams. I can't recall.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, I never lost to the Newark Rams.
Welcome back to another episode of the Clipboard. One half of your podcast backcourt and Coach Chuck to my left.
It's Coach Rel, aka T Rob, and we're back.
I really hate when he does that.
Everyone hates it, but I gotta do it.
Fresh off a dynamic episode, and got a lot of feedback. What's some of the feedback you heard about the draft?
I've been getting a lot of good feedback for the most part. The only thing that some people been coming at me with was, why I ain't go this high, or why I went so far down, why I was this number, but that's just the competitive nature of the players. Everybody want to be the number one player, but there can only be one.
Yeah, I mean, the feedback I got is everybody's kind of excited. They want to see what the cause is, and they really want to play. If you go to the Clipboard Instagram page, it's a lot of trash talking back and forth on there already.
Oh yeah, we got some guys that didn't make the teams. One of the big guys, he chimed in a little bit under the post, saying he outside this summer. If we're able to go outside, he said he outside this summer.
That's Big Josh. He just graduated. He just finished up at CCM. So yeah,
ironically, his name is Josh Morris, and one of the kids that got drafted name is Josh Morris. So that's probably how he got wind of it.
But yeah, I ran into Big Ramon, who I drafted. Shout out to my team, man. He said, I ran into him yesterday when
what did he say?
He said it's rec all summer. So whoever won it. He said he ready. That's it.
Good luck.
It. Hey, man. We're going to see. So this episode, since we had a good last episode, we was talking about pretty much the draft and what the call. We didn't get the calls, but it's going to be a tournament. This week, we want to really back in and go.
Get back to what we're doing.
Yeah, talk about more basketball, maybe some IQ. So we got some interviews, and, due to the pandemic, we can't get everybody up here. So we're going to FaceTime.
Yeah, we are trying to practice the social distance. I know we're still doing our podcast, but we're trying to limit it as much as possible. So, we're going back to doing our interviews over the phone, just out of respect of everyone and what they have going on.
We're going to need that mic on so it can pick up the FaceTime. Pick up its words so it can be on the audio.
So today we got some guys we're going to bring in, just to get their expertise on a few things and get a little background about them. Try to introduce you guys to a different side of the basketball world.
Let me go ahead and screen record this.
All right, so we're calling in our first guest right now.
Yeah, 3 different coaches, so 3 different levels. So hopefully he's ready to answer, and we can go from there.
Yo.
There we go. What's going on?
Coach E.
How you feeling? What's good, baby?
Doing good. So our first guest is Coach Elias Brantley from Irvington High. How you doing? How you holding up during the quarantine?
Hey, man, I'm all right. Been trying to make the best of a bad situation, Spending time with the family, though, that's a good thing. Trying to get some work done around the house.
Oh, handyman.
Nah, not at all, man. Looking up all these YouTube videos trying to figure it out.
Hey, man, DIY, do it yourself.
Okay, so we just wanted to reach out to you, maybe ask you a couple of questions, get some feedback from you, and especially because we didn't get to finish the basketball season, so we just want to tune back into you. We all cheer for Irvington. You our guy. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but
let's go Irvington.
So you want to ask me first?
You can start off with your first question. I'll do the follow up.
Okay, so you graduated from Irvington High. Went to Bloomfield, and now you're the head coach at Irvington High. How surreal was it to win a championship at the school that you graduated from?
Oh, man. It's I remember being a player, right? And my coach at the time, Robinson, Coach Bam, he had one state championship at Irvington. And he would come in practice with the ring in his jacket. and you always had that dream as a kid. And I didn't get to win as a player, but to get another opportunity to come back and try to do it as a coach was a big deal for me. To get it done. To get it done, it meant a lot.
Okay. I got a follow-up question for that. So, do you feel that there's any added pressure being that you're a hometown guy, or do you feel like they give you more leeway, kind of give you a pass because you're a hometown guy?
Oh, I think it's the latter. I think they give me a pass because I'm a hometown guy.
Okay.
And I also think, all right, first I think I get a slight pass because I'm a hometown.
Mm-hmm.
But secondly, even when we were down, I think the people in the community saw how we were working.
Okay.
So although we weren't as successful as we might have wanted to be on the court, people saw us in the gym every day putting the work in.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't help but respect the result in a sense. It wasn't where we wanted to be, but as you can see, like, you put enough work in, eventually it'll pay it off.
Okay.
Well, before you ask the second question, I wanted to say I seen the work. You know, we played each other a couple times as coaches, and I think that my respect level for you is high because we were kind of doing the same thing, even though I wasn't the head coach. But I seen you do the stuff with the merch, with the We Are Irvington, and then once that came out, you couldn't, like, everybody in Irvington had them. And I was trying to do the same thing with the merch at Bloomfield Tech. So I seen the work you put in from the ground level all the way up, and I want to give you your flowers while we still able to. You feel me?
Definitely.
Yeah, man. It was like trying to bring a sense of pride to be from Irvington, to play for Irvington. Trying to just pump the merch out. Most of that stuff got done in my basement, man.
Wow.
Printing it up myself. But just trying to, restore some pride, bring the beat back in a sense.
Okay.
Definitely. I had another question. Why do you feel it's kind of hard to keep the local kids in public schools? Like, I know Irvington kind of struggles sometimes with that, with keeping their kids. A lot of kids like to go to the powerhouse schools, the Roselle Catholics, the St. Benedict's, the Patrick schools. They like to leave because they, for whatever reason. Why do you feel that happens?
I got kind of like two different ends of that.
Okay.
Early on, I lost two of my, it was 2 years in a row I lost my player.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Wasn't because of the perception of the school or anything like that. That was because I was a young coach at the time, and their parents and guardians felt like I can't put my eggs in this basket with this young kid. Both of those guys I'm really close to now. Never any hard feelings, but that's one reason why I lost kids early. But secondly, the reason I think a lot of public schools lose kids is because of the perception of the school. People who never stepped foot at Irvington High School think Irvington High School is the Wild Wild West. It is nothing like that.
Okay.
So, a parent can't tell a parent that their child is going to be okay when they already have a thought in their mind of what their child is going to Irvington High School to do.
Okay.
But that's a big one, the perception of the school, and somehow we got to change that narrative.
Okay. My last question for you is, well, before I even ask the question, I want to say I'm upset that you guys had to beat Payne Tech the way you did.
I told him
to get to the championship.
I told him
I was actually going to come to the game, and I decided against the last minute. He couldn't get in.
Yeah,
it was sold
I couldn't
out.
even get in the game, man.
But I wanted to, send you like a middle finger emoji or something like that after y'all beat us. But all right, you won the North Jersey Group 3 title, and I seen the pictures. Everybody celebrated. It was the first one in a while for Irvington. How does it feel to win the North 3 championship but not be able to go and try to win the total Group 3 because of the quarantine?
All right, first of all, I'm going to join the Payne Tech thing. Don't act like we didn't take our love for Payne Tech earlier.
Listen,
we done took some lumps. I done had kids crying in the locker room like he dunked on them. So that's kind of like, and I had this group for a while, so, I try to tell them, don't forget.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't forget, get dunked on, baby. Go out there.
Yeah.
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Yeah. It was according to that score, it was definitely their turn.
But, it's basketball in New Jersey. you know, you have your up years, you have your down years. This year we were blessed enough. Our God stayed and we had an up year. And the second part, what was the second part of that question again?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was the most heartbreaking thing in the world. Hold on, let that go. That was the most heartbreaking thing in the world. You know, kids fight all year long, and we got this idea of this is where we want to be, and we get that close, and they can't compete for no fault of their own. You know? Yeah. So I know it hurt. But you know, you try to look at the glass as half full. We did do something that wasn't done in Irvington since 1994, 1993. We won the sectional. We did get to play the semifinal game for the group, and now we're considered North Region state champs or co-champs or something, man. But you know, we did all we could, man.
Yeah.
Well,
I got one last question for you. You know, I've been following Irvington High School since I can remember. You know, I'm from Irvington, homebred. And Irvington has always been kind of up and down when it came to basketball. They had some really good seasons, then they had some in-between seasons, then it go back up, then it go back down. Where do you see the program in the next 5 years?
I'm
putting you on the spot.
That's a weird question, right? Because I feel like public schools are going to have their ups and downs.
Yeah.
You know, even if you do it, especially if you do it the right way, you know? All the kids that I played with this year are from Irvington.
Yeah.
From Irvington. I didn't have a transfer, none of that. I watched them kids play in the 8th grade game 4 years ago.
Wow.
And I talked to the parents, and I just tried to convince them that their kid would be okay in Irvington, and we would do staff, and as a community, we would do all we could for their kids. Mm-hmm. So this year coming up, we got a young group, very talented. They'll be able to compete. I don't know if right away we'll be back in a state championship situation. Okay. But as they get older, we'll be right back in that cycle if these kids put in the work that they're supposed to.
Okay.
But I think public schools go through that wave in a sense. You see the best public schools go through that wave. Eastside this year, they played a lot of young kids down the stretch. Yeah. And I look at those guys as some of the best that do it around here. Facts. So, you know, you go through your wave, and in the next 5 years, I say in the next 3, you should see this type of wave again.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm looking forward to.
He put you on the spot. I had a question to put you on the spot before we ended, but you said the word "we," so I think I got my answer because there was some rumors going around that this may be your last year. You may be looking to some other stuff. So, but you said "we," so can we confirm that Coach Elias will be back with Irvington next year?
Oh, it don't matter if I'm the head coach or not. Irvington is we.
All right, there we go.
Talk that. Let them know. Talk that shit.
I'm trying to get it exclusive, and you repping for Irvington.
Yes, because it's we, man.
He went to St. Benedict's. He not part of we. He a gravy. Don't even include him.
Matter. It's still Irvington.
We are Irvington, man. We walk those streets.
Exactly.
You know, we already got this thing. Like I hear how those Northcats talk. I listen to the podcast.
What?
There's always something about Irvington. Man. Always something about Irvington, and it's cool. You know. It is what it is.
Hey man, don't start talking spicy because you won a championship. We gave you your flowers, bro.
This what we do. This what we do. He don't know.
Here you go.
We ran through the North teams this year.
You did. You did.
You did.
I can't
talk it.
I can't take that from you. Congratulations, salute, hats off. But I want to know: are you going to be back next year, or you can't give me that answer yet?
I can't give you that answer. It's still up in the air. I'm in the process of switching careers.
Okay.
I'm trying to work it out. So as of right now, I am the head coach signed up for next year.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully, whatever your career switch is, it'll be lucrative for you, and it'll allow you to coach because just beyond winning the championship, good mentor. Like I kind of look at you like me, the good relationship with the kids off the court, you know. So we want to keep that there in Irvington, and just in Newark and everywhere, Essex County, you know. So salute to you, and thanks for calling in. Well, we called you, but thanks for giving us the interview.
Appreciate it for having me, bro.
No problem.
All right.
Later.
Okay. See, I don't like when T-Rob start co-signing, man. You see him co-signing for Irvington, man.
It's Irvington, baby.
Well, how many Irvington games you went to in the last 5 years? If it ain't been more than 10, it's at least 2.
How many? No, in how many years?
Last 5.
The last 5. I went to at least 2 a year.
I hear you.
I would have been more. I couldn't get into this year. I couldn't get into a lot because they were sold out because they was doing so well.
Yeah, but back to Elias before we get to our next interview. Yeah, man, like I remember him first getting the job. I think we played him his first year. When they got the job, I believe we split. That's when they had Nas Johnson.
Yeah, he had all those free throws that game. I remember. I was there.
We beat them at their gym, and they beat us there. It always was good battles with Irvington. No matter what the talent level was, he always had those kids battle test. They was always ready to play. They always played hard, and you know that's a credit to the coaching staff. Him,
Wadu, definitely.
And so salute to them and congratulations on winning that Group 3. So now we're gonna go ahead and call our next guest and. Let's see if he's I gave him a time, but you know, some people be busy. Yeah. There we go. So
my guy.
Yo, it's good, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I was scared that you wasn't gonna answer the phone. I know you're a busy man.
Yo, listen, I'm locked in, man.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Well, our next guest, you want me to gas him up a little bit?
Oh, definitely gas him up.
2-time NEC Coach of the Year. 1-time NABC Coach of the Year. Former Drexel Dragon. Former St. Benedict's Gravy. My God, Bashir Mason. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate that welcome. That's nice.
Yeah.
I gave you a warm welcome and you was talking crazy to me last night on a Benedict Zoom. I don't like that.
Yo, man, we got to talk about that. You just disappeared on me, man. You was the only reason I went on it.
He's real, like, he talks slick with his mouth. Like, he real wordy. I like that, though, but it's cool. Hey, listen, I'm juicing, so I got a headache. I had to go to sleep, man, so. You want to ask him the first question?
I went first last time. I'll let you get into your stuff.
Okay, so this year, if you look at the transfer portal, it's a lot of kids transferring. So I want to ask you, is that the new way of like recruiting nowadays? And when people transfer, how early in the process do you know that they're interested in you? How does that work?
I mean, the transfer thing has been going on probably the last 4 or 5 years. So really, I mean, I know me, I just kind of got a guy dedicated on my staff to just always having a feel for, you know, guys who probably aren't happy, you know, before the season even ends, to see when they're going to hit the transfer portal or if they're planning on transfer. And then really, you want to be the first one to kind of contact them, especially if it's a player that you're really interested in. And then if it's a great fit, you got to go for it.
Okay.
Cool. I have a question for you as far as like coaching. You were a pretty good basketball player. You know, you did your thing at Benedict's, did your thing at Drexel. Has there ever been a point where that kind of overshadowed you as a coach? Like people were looking at you just as a basketball player, not so much as a coach?
I would say, you know what, I probably struggle with that more than I feel like the outside people looking at me. You know, from a player perspective, you could always get out there and do something to have an impact on the game. And as a coach, you know, you can practice all you want during the week, but once the ball is thrown up, you don't really have no input on the outcome of the game. You can't physically do anything.
Okay. Well, my question for you, you know, I coach at the high school level at AAU, so this question is more so geared to them. When it comes to recruiting those kids, right, do you guys weigh their social media when you look at them? So, like, do you make, like you said, you have a coach who looks for the transfers. Do you have a coach who's looking at players' social media to make sure you're not getting a knucklehead or whatever the case may be?
Absolutely. That's right up there. One, we look at the talent, we check academics, and then, you know, social media. We want to figure out is the real fit. You know, they our kind of kid, culture-wise. You want to know who they're hanging out with. What they're doing in their day-to-day besides just being a basketball player. And you really, from social media, you really get to know, who a person is outside of just being a basketball player.
Definitely. After college, you went straight into coaching?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so like, were there any professional opportunities for you? I know you had a pretty good career at Drexel, but were there any professional opportunities? And if so, why did you turn them down?
Yeah, so it's actually the way I got into coaching was crazy, but I went through the process. I signed with an agent, was working out all summer.
Okay.
Late in the summer, agent came to the table with about 3 contracts, Mexico, the Czech Republic, and then there was one in Ireland.
Okay.
And I was close to signing the one in the Czech Republic, and I was kind of on the fence about the whole thing. It just never really felt right to me.
Okay.
And, obviously Danny, who I played for, was a mentor to me throughout college,
Okay.
back at St. Benedict. So I was talking to him throughout the process, and he, asked me, if you're not going to play, what do you see yourself doing? And I was like, I don't know, man. I might, be a coach or something. And he was like, man, it's funny you say that, because I always viewed you that way. And if you decide not to play, I want you to come back and coach at St. Benedict. So I was always on the phone. I'm like, oh, man, that'd be pretty cool. I'll come back, be an assistant coach, learn how to coach under you. And he was like, nah, you're not coming back to be an assistant. You're going to be the head coach of the prep school team. So I'm like, listen, I never coached a game before. I'm not going to come back and be a head coach. So then he used kind of knowing me against me. He was like, oh, man, I coach you so much tougher than what you sound like right now. Telling me you want to be somebody's assistant coach. Like, you was always a leader. Now you're telling me you want to be a follower. So I hung up the phone, and I'm thinking about that. Like, this dude think I'm soft. Like, I'm scared to coach. So once I thought about it, it just felt right in my gut more so to take the job back at St. Benedict's than it did to go overseas. So I went with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, did you actually put it out there? You just talk about it. You remind me of Hurley, right? Because
Definitely.
not the personality wise, y'all both got that sarcastic lingo to you, and I don't know if you had that before or if you've been around him so much, and that's why. But yeah, I get that vibe from you right now.
He was always like that. It was just on a smaller scale, but now it's kind of more blown because of positions that he's in, so you kind of see it more.
So my last question for you was, obviously, well, first off, we didn't ask you how you holding up during the quarantine, you and your family.
Man, daddy daycare here. My fiance is a nurse practitioner, so she on the front line of this thing. She working 3-4 days a week.
Okay.
We got 2 little ones. I'm here. But we making it happen. She's safe. She's working in a controlled environment, so it's not too scary when she come home after being at work. But day to day with it, I'm happy we got a backyard.
Well, the reason I asked about the quarantine is obviously when you're recruiting players, you come to high school games, but for the majority, a lot of kids are getting recruited during the AAU season. And high school season ended right around the playoffs, and now there's no AAU. How has that affected you guys and your recruitment of players for next year's class? 'Cause I'm pretty sure you probably don't got no scholarships left for this upcoming year.
So I will say, to finish up this year, and I wouldn't say this to nobody else, but y'all my guys.
Okay.
So we finished up our 2020 recruiting class right as the quarantine hit. And it really, I would say it probably really helped us. We signed a Gatorade Player of the Year out of Delaware. We got a transfer from Duquesne. We got a 5th-year transfer from UT Chattanooga, a same kid. And I'm missing one kid right now. But I felt like it helped us because we don't have a 10,000 seat arena.
Yeah.
All of the state-of-the-art equipment and all of that stuff. So kids basically had to commit to schools based off of who showed them the most love and who they had that connection and vibe with. So me and my staff, we was able to really get some guys that we probably wouldn't have been able to get, because if they came and visited and saw the facilities, they might have been like, I'm going to wait. But moving forward, man, it's also been that way. About 2021 class, I've been able to build some great relationships with guys who I seen play at the high school level. I'm not going to have a chance to probably see them play AAU, but I think it's going to give us a leg up in terms of the relationship that we're building right now.
Okay.
But everything right now is the vibe and it's for looks. So kids, along with the transfer deal, kids would rather go to a place that's not a great fit for them, but it's cool to tell their friends they go there.
Nice. You got. I have one more question for you before we let you go. So it's a lot of talk about summertime basketball. All right. So I wanted to know, what was your summer regimen? Did you play in any summer leagues, anything like that back home in Philly? Where did you play?
When I was a player?
Yeah.
High school, college?
College.
Yeah, in college, I was, there was a summer league in Philly that was down at Temple that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best things about going to school in Philly, man, there's 6 Division I schools all within a 15-mile radius.
Yeah.
And we would just rotate days out of the week. This week we going over to St. Joe's. Monday, Penn coming over to us. Wednesday we going to LaSalle. So you got some really good runs. And then, in the summertime, St. Benedict's schedule is a little bit different.
Yeah.
When I was out of school, those guys were still working out. When I came home, I would get over there a couple times a week and go down to St. Anthony's just to make sure I was staying sharp.
Okay. So no summer leagues, but just like working out within like different programs. Do you feel like that was the best route for you? Do you think you should have tried to play it in like some pro-ams, anything like that? Or do you think what you did was the best situation for you?
Yeah, I like playing.
Okay.
I think today guys learn the game from behind a cone. I like playing. I want to get out and go up against somebody. Even from a workout standpoint,
yeah.
I want to be in the gym with 2 or 3 other guys, communicating, talking. So we just, we learning as we work out.
Nice.
Well, before we let you go, man, I just want to say I'm conflicted in our relationship, man, because I want to let the people know, like, when I got kicked off of Benedict's and you came, you was one of the people that was, like, trying to get me back on. But, man, since we graduated, I don't know, man. I ain't getting no gear. I haven't been invited to a game or nothing. I don't understand. I came out there a couple times. I don't understand what's going on.
Yo, listen, man. Both y'all, my God. It's one of the things, and I mean this, wholeheartedly. We don't have to talk every day, see each other all the time. I got nothing but fond memories and great feelings about y'all dudes. And really, like St. Benedict's was y'all school, man. Y'all dudes welcomed me in to a completely different situation that was probably the best thing that happened in my life, man. It was like real dudes like y'all that made St. Benedict's so unique and like the coolest thing I ever been a part of.
That's dope. Yeah, we definitely gonna come to a game or two this year, man. We're gonna be in contact so you can set us up with all the VIP treatment.
Yo, I'm holding y'all to that, man.
Definitely.
I'm holding y'all to that.
All right, man. Well, I know you gotta go. Daddy daycare, go make sure the kids is good. Thanks for letting us interview, and I appreciate you, bro.
Yo, I talk to y'all guys, man. Be safe.
You too.
Man, you too.
All right.
Anything you want to say about Bosh before we get to the next guest?
Nah, Bosh is a great dude, man. He always like encouraged me. Like when I was playing on the team, we'd be in practice. A lot of people would be nervous, whatever, but he like encouraged me, like, yo, shoot, do this, do that. Try to help me out as much as he can. I feel like he's always had that leadership type position as the point guard and having the closest connection with the coach, that he would kind of be that bridge between the coach and the actual players. So I always appreciated Bosh for that. And then him just going to his positions he's in now, he's always showed love. So I appreciate Bosh.
Bosh was one of the first, I ain't gonna say first, but he was one of the many people that when you played, I knew him like, all right, his levels. First off, he was dirty as hell. He was a dirty player, right? But so what he would do was when you would go to crossover, he would guard. He was a good defender, so he had fast feet. He would guard you close. So what he would do was he would either put his hand on your hip and direct where you was going. You couldn't go this way, or I used to try to cross him. So I tried to cross over, but he would grab my offhand. So when I do the crossover, the ball just go out of bounds. And he was so strong that when you tried to like snatch your hand from it didn't move. Like he never got caught doing. He did it in games. He did it in practice. And you looking, you want to say, yo, coach, he fouling me. And Hurley just looking at you like, you fucking bum. So yeah, but Bosh that's my guy, man. I appreciate him for calling in. Let me see. So we got one more coach. See something here. Trying to screen record all these as well.
There we go.
Hello?
Coach Hutch, how you doing?
Doing all right, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Well, let me introduce you to my co-host. This is my co-host, Coach Terrell.
How you doing, sir?
Terrell, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
So I'm going to introduce you to the people because we're live. Some people might not know who we're talking to. This is Coach Adam Hutchinson. He's the head coach at King University. a St. Benedict's alumni, so you know he's my guy. So how you holding up during the quarantine?
Maintaining. My wife and kids are safe and healthy. So we all trying to stay that way, lay low. I hope y'all are doing the same. I hope your families are safe and well.
Definitely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So one of the reasons I wanted to get you on, one, because you're a Benix guy. Two, you're coaching at King, the school that I went to. And, you were recruiting one of my players, I want to say 2 years ago, and we built a good rapport. And, just talked. I could see your basketball regimen. So I wanted to get you up here, we got a lot of young kids that watch it. So now they can know how it is coming from a coach's mind, a college coach, where they aspire to play at.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
So the first question I want to ask you, you're a Division III head coach, right? How hard is it to recruit some of these kids when, growing up, everybody's goal is to, I want to go D1 or D2 at the lowest because they want to go to school for free?
Yeah, it's hard. Everybody wants a scholarship. My own sense is that some of that is tied in the ego. When it's money, it's money. Like if you need the money, you need the money. But when it's tied in the ego, then, you want to see guys make a wise choice. A rule of thumb that I find and I share with people is use the game. Don't let the game use you. And so, for the right kid, playing at Division III might be better than, not getting any playing time at a Division II. And certainly I would say playing for a coach who believes in you is better than playing for a coach who refuses to even look at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, go where you want it. Somebody wants you, rock with that.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So people don't know you. A lot of people might not know, but I studied your bio. You were head coach at Washington and Lee University for 14 seasons. You were coach of the year there, and you're the second winningest coach in that program's history. So for 14 years you were there. How hard was it to move away and go somewhere new?
I wanted to leave. That's a part of the South where the Confederacy is still a big thing.
Okay.
The Civil War is considered current events. And so for me, I was starting a new 5-year contract when I resigned. And for me, I was sitting down and thinking about it. And when I went down there, I thought, Civil War, ancient history, Confederate flag, ancient history. And what I figured out in my time there was that those things are an expression of current values.
Wow.
And, those are not my values. There are people in the South who will maintain that the Confederate flag is an expression of Southern heritage. But my people are from Virginia. Honestly, half the people in Newark, their people are from Virginia, right? And so our people don't fly that flag.
Not at all.
And 14 years of looking at that, 14 years of seeing the behaviors associated with that, I was looking for something else to do with my life. And I've been fortunate. I found a good home at King.
I have a question. Since you've been in that environment for 14 years, you've seen it through the Obama administration, and now you've seen it when Trump came in office. Did you see a difference between the two?
Yeah. So when I got there, Bush was in office, and then Obama was elected, and then Trump was elected. I could tell you this one little... Well, I'll tell you two things. Number one, when I was there, rarely did I see an Obama bumper sticker. My wife had one on her car.
Okay.
And people kept pulling it off, right?
Wow.
Like they would pull it off of her car. Whereas you saw Bush stuff all over the place and you saw Trump stuff all over the place. So that's number one. Number two, I didn't realize how deep racism ran in this country until Obama got elected. I always figured the edge of racism stopped people's money. They weren't going to let that affect their money. And what I discovered when Obama was president was people would actually sacrifice their money, and it's that deep. So by the time the end of his term came, I was not particularly excited about any of the Democratic candidates. Hillary Clinton, okay, she's better than Trump, but that was the best I could say. But I had an interaction that was really surprising to me. I went into work the next day after Trump won, and one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, I bet you're really upset today." And I was confused. I was like, "No, I'm good. What are you talking about?" And she was like, "And I was like, "I legitimately have no idea what you're talking about." And she was like, "Because Hillary lost." And I was like, "I don't care about Hillary Clinton." Now, I cared that Trump won. I cared about that. So, yeah, you saw it. You saw it. People were, that whole take our country back. You could see people saying that to you or around you in little different ways down there. And so it was refreshing for me. It was nourishment for my soul to come back to the Northeast. Okay. And when I got back to Jersey, it was like I could breathe to see, my people, to see people whose perspective was shaped by the same experience as mine were. Okay. And I think most of us who see the world that way look at Donald Trump for what he is.
Interesting. I had another question, kind of changed the topic slightly.
Yes, sir.
So you kind of jumped around with colleges a little bit, from being a head coach to assistant coach back to a head coach again. How were you able to handle that? I know sometimes when you're a head coach and now you're getting bumped back down to an assistant coach or taking an assistant coach role, it can be a little difficult. And then now you're going back into the head coaching roles again. So how did you adjust to that, and what challenges did you face?
Honestly, it was a blessing. I went back to be an assistant at my alma mater, Amherst College. Okay. That's an institution that I believe in deeply. It helped me broaden my perspectives, lift my horizon. And so for me, working every day to recruit kids to come to Amherst and say, "Hey, if you come to Amherst, this education will change your life," was a blessing. And, particularly saying to young African-American men, "Hey, Amherst College is going to do it for you. And here's why," was something I enjoyed. So in that respect, being an assistant wasn't hard. Okay. Coming back to Kane, being a head coach again, that was, it was a different experience because it was different demographic than I'd been working with. But it was honestly like coming home. Like the guys that came, they embraced me day one. So, when I was in Virginia, I felt like an alien pretty much for 14 years every day. And I hadn't lived in Jersey in 20-something years when I came back to Kane. And I haven't felt out of place for 1 second. And, we struggled in the 2 years I've been there. And generally speaking, that brings out the worst in people. Yeah. But it hasn't at Kane. Like, those are really, really fine young men. They show up every day to practice. They compete. They respect each other. They acknowledge each other. So for me, coming back to Kane was like a shot of adrenaline. It was like a rebirth.
Nice.
As you said, come back to Kane, you guys struggled a little bit, but you have a very, very young roster. A lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomore. I want to say you have back-to-back NJAC Rookie of the Years. I know one of them is, I believe the other kid. Okay, so we had one, right? Out of the struggles, what have you seen that makes you believe that, okay, we're heading in the right direction and we can turn this ship around?
Sometimes you have seasons where there's an injured, like everything kind of goes wrong, right? We had one of those seasons last year. Everything went wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And usually when that happens, guys are looking for the quickest way out. The thing that makes me optimistic about the future is I didn't see that with our guys. So I'll give you an example. We had a young man who was done for the season and his knee wouldn't allow him to play. And we played our last game down at Rowan. And one of his classmates had an architecture class in Manhattan that he had to go to. So the first young man waited for the second young man to get out of class, picked him up, and drove him down the road to make sure he played in that game. Wow. Even though the guy doing the driving knew he wasn't going to play. My own personal opinion is, you want to win, you got to do it together. And that kind of togetherness, I just gave one example, but there were others. But that kind of togetherness is what makes me optimistic that we're going to be okay.
Okay. Well, last question before we let you go, right? And in my time there in the last couple years, I haven't seen any Division I players transfer to King, but I've seen Division I players transfer to other schools, such as, Corey Chandler transferred to Willie P, and Courtney Nelson to Willie P as well. And then I think this year, NJCU had Quadri Moore, who went to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
When you're playing against schools that are getting, and those were high major Division I schools that they went to, do you have to try to look into the Division I ranks for kids that are unhappy or whatever the case may be to try to get them to come to King? And have you done so far?
I'm not going to let you off with this being the last question, by the way. There's something I want to talk about. But let me say this. I want to be an asset to these young men. So when I tell them, use the game, don't let the game use you, I don't want to be using them. So if somebody is unhappy somewhere, I don't want to contribute to their feelings of discontent just because it might benefit me. You understand?
Gotcha.
Now, if that guy, so I'm not going to go putting words in some guy's ear about his current situation. That's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he calls me and says, hey, coach, I'm not happy where I'm at, talk to me. Absolutely. Any Division I players out there that aren't happy and they want to call me because they want to transfer, I want to talk to you. But while they're at that school, I would advise everybody, make the best of where you are and do what you can do where you're at.
Perfect. Okay, so you said you're not going to let me get on with that being the last question. You said you want to talk about some things. So what do you want to talk about?
Put him in the hot seat, coach.
Well, so Chuck and I talked briefly about some of the things we might discuss, and one of them was my path to being a head coach. And, I want to say to everyone out there, because I know people are looking to make a career in college athletics, that to make them aware of a certain statistic. So in 2017, Richard Lapchick did a study, and he concluded that there were more women coaching men's teams in Division III than there were black men coaching men's teams, right? Mm-hmm. Now, given that sports are split along gender lines, that statistic is crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I want to encourage people to do is keep trying. Our perspectives are sorely needed in these jobs. Young men are coming to these teams, to this university, that university, and it'd be good for there to be people who share their perspective, who understand where they're coming from, who can speak to them. Not as buddy, but more like their parents would speak to them, and say, hey, don't be going out Friday night. Hey, where do young men tend to get in trouble? What are the things to avoid? And so, for people who have a passion for the game, for our people who recognize the game is the valuable teaching tool it is, I would say keep working, keep striving. Don't accept no for an answer. If you don't have, say, that degree that you need, go back and get it. If you interview for a job and you don't get the first one, keep trying. And by all means, connect with other Black professionals who are in the business. Develop those relationships, those mentorships. And if some of us are in the business, make sure that we reach back and open the door for the generation behind us.
Hey, man, I want to say I appreciate it because I feel like you're talking to me.
Absolutely talking.
Definitely talking to each other.
While I got him on the line, tell a story. I was applying for a head coaching job at a high school for a girls team. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to blow the doors off the interview. I knew I could kill the interview, but I said, what else can I do? And I got some references from a bunch of college coaches. And Hutch, you were one of the coaches that I called on to give me a reference, and you gave me a glowing reference. Unfortunately, I didn't get the job, but I never forgot that I appreciate you. So, you know what I mean? But since you want help, if you got an opening on the coaching staff, let me know. I can come through and I can help out.
Well, let me say this. It might not be unfortunate that you didn't get the job. I was listening to one of your previous podcasts. And the work you're doing here is important. People need to hear some of the topics that are covered on your podcast. And that job wasn't the one for you. The next one might be.
Appreciate that. Well, we about to wrap up. I want to say thanks for coming on. I appreciate you, giving your knowledge and sharing your journey. And we gonna keep in contact. We gonna talk. We always talk.
Definitely appreciate you. I'm thankful for the message you gave this guy today, because I tell him the same thing you're telling him. Maybe coming from someone else, he'll actually listen. But I'm grateful for the message.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks, fellas.
No problem. Stay safe.
All right, you too.
Yeah, Hutch kind of he kind of threw the little jab. I didn't know he was going to do that.
I'm glad he did though, man. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what to expect with him. I'm not too familiar with him, but I'm definitely grateful we had him on. Definitely a different perspective than the previous two. The previous two were a little younger. He was a little older, and he's a little more experienced and seasoned, so he was able to give us a different outlook on a lot of different things, and I'm greatly appreciative that he came on our show and gave us that input.
Yeah, I knew he would be a good person to have on here, just because one, we connected fast too when he was recruiting Galloway. That's what he was actually recruiting.
Oh, God, nice.
Well, that was one of the players, but that was the main person, and he was recruiting him. And we just started talking about basketball. And then next thing I know, we talking about Benedict. He's like, I'm going to graduate at Benedict. I'm like, I graduated from Benedict. And then, he had Keene and I went to Keene. So it went from, him recruiting one of the players to us actually building a little courtship, a friendship.
Nice.
And, I appreciate the kind words from him. And, hopefully he can turn my alma mater Keene around. And, I can boast because y'all did beat Keene this year.
Oh, yeah, I was at that game.
So, yeah. So hopefully we can turn it around so I can talk my trash to him. But
not going to happen, but.
Whatever. Anyway, that's another episode of the Clipboard. Hope you guys enjoyed the messages. Last week was a little more fun with the draft, but this week we wanted to get back, talk about messages, it's especially for the youth. You heard Bashir say they definitely listen to social media and watch social media. So if you guys are trying to go to college, that's something that you definitely need to take care of.
Please be mindful of what you post.
Okay.
There's too many players I had to slide in their DMs, let them know they posting some BS, take that down. They not even understanding what they're posting is wrong. So please, just be mindful of the things you post, man. If I was you guys, I would kind of keep it strictly to family and basketball stuff. All the extracurricular stuff that you guys do, definitely keep that away from your social media because it can harm you in the long run.
I see something here. Hold on.
What's going on over there?
Wait, how much time we got left?
We got 15 left.
Can we pause it? We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back with you. We just got some big info coming in. Pause.
All right. Well, we had to take a little quick commercial break. We thought we had a little bit of an exclusive. Timing was wrong. So we're going
to say that for a later date.
Yeah, we'll just put it on another date. So don't worry about it. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And we'll get back to you next week with another episode of The Clipboard. Salute.
We out.